Well, a very good afternoon from the home address on 18th of March 26. Yes, it's can't believe it's 6 months since I was doing all that stuff over in that corner. As you can see, I've been chopping some birch. There was a couple of overhangs, well, more than that. And there's two sections of a birch tree which were well, problematic. They had been for some time. I'd taken one down 5 years ago, I think it was, but for the sake of my neighbour's property being demolished in a storm, I asked the council to come and inspect it, and they agreed it was in a dangerous situation. So the stipulation was that I was to get the wood because I've got a solid fuel. In fact, they sent that information to me as against council policy. Because I told them to stuff their renewable stuff. I don't want it. So I've got no solar panels. So I've got no heat pump. And they review it every 12 months, but I just keep telling them to piss off. As you can see, if you get a decent supply of wood, that keeps the home fires burning. But you certainly need the coal, because coal burns at a higher intensity. So I'm chopping this up today. I think we've been here before about wood, but I'm chopping it up because it needs to be seasoned. It will never season so well in this condition, in this situ. It will if you left it for 5 years or 10 years, but it'll be rotten. Well, so what I want to do is split it into reasonable sections, stack that like I did stack the oak back in the early autumn. So this oak has had 6 months. It probably need another 9 months to a year before it's ready for burning, maybe even longer. But the birch, fortunately, the birch dries out much quicker. Even though it's a hardwood, I'm able to burn this probably October, well, certainly mid-December. But I need to keep it dry. So I'm going to stack it either in that corner. I need to build a section to raise it so it gets blasted with the heat all summer long, and the prevailing winds from every direction. Or I put it in here, which I probably will. I'll put a section here, build it up, and then it's fully toasted with the hot sunshine, particularly in the months of August and September. It'll be fried. So as you can see, I'm building up a good stockpile. I can't believe the diesel in 12 days has gone up from 144 a litre. It's now 171. I filled up yesterday at 159 a litre. And it's gone up today, 24 hours later, and it's up to 171. So I don't know, I'm rather disappointed, because it means that I'm going to be curtailed in any of my westerly journeys. There's no way I'm paying multiple 170 litres to go anywhere. And in the west coast, well, anyone heading on the NG 500, no, NC 500 any, North Coast 500 route, will be in an absolute despair, particularly if they've already got it all booked up, because not only is the price is probably about 185 up in the Highlands, maybe even towards £2 a litre. There's also a shortage. So therefore the locals who live in these areas need it for their work, and petrol and diesel for work, and school runs, and just what you need a car for. So they're not going to be catering for the tourist trade. If someone comes up with a Gloucestershire registration plate, well, demanding fuel, they say, well, sorry, but we We need it for our local people in the village. So I think it's going to be very difficult, and I'm not sure how it's going to transpire in the next 6 weeks, but it's definitely a problem. So 171 a litre is unbelievable. I mean, we've been through oil crises before. I mean, I remember all the excitement of 1973 with the oil crisis, and well, that basically ruined the British economy, didn't it? Because that was before North Sea drilling had begun. You know, well, exploration had taken place, but not any drilling. I think it was 1975 with the first oil barrel was produced from the North Sea, and in 1979 with the Islamic Revolution in Iran, there was problems, but at least we were drilling for oil and we were self-sufficient. But these bloody lunatics in Holyrood and Westminster, particularly that Ed Miliband's, the Greens and you know, in Scotland and the SNP, have refused licences to drill in the Rosebank sites in the northwest of the United Kingdom, in the North Atlantic. So we could be like Norway or Russia or even the USA, self-sufficient in gas and our own oil, but they refuse to drill for. They'd rather have these woke projects with their bloody silly electric cars and 20-mile-an-hour signs. Incidentally, if you drive a brand new car, you've got no choice but to drive at 20 miles an hour. If you're in a much older vehicle, there's no sounds come from the dashboard. I drove a courtesy car from Nissan because my car was in the garage last October for its MOT, and they gave me a courtesy car. It's a bloody electric thing, and everywhere you went, it just beep, 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 beep. If you went 21 miles per hour in the 20 zone. The chap says to me, if you have an accident and you're doing 24 miles an hour in the 20 zone, it's recorded. So you need to keep to the speed limits. I says, no chance. We don't get all bloody day to go and do an errand. But we're off subject, Andy. Well, not really, because we might need a lot more wood, because if oil's going up in price, the coal undoubtedly will be going up in price as well, because not only delivery charges will be more expensive, but bringing it from overseas is going to be very expensive. So it's going to be impacting everybody. And I mean, as I say about the oil, but there's plenty of coal underneath the bloody ground in Scotland. I don't know why we've allowed our whole, you know, economy to flounder just because of some bloody woke agenda for climate change, which doesn't even exist. I'm going to use this, Andy, as a section, and fill in the gaps, of course, and then with all the wood that I chop up from this range here, I'll put it in that corner, the rest of it, and as I say, I'll be able to get fried throughout the summer months. And then what we'll probably do, Andy, is well, this lot should be all right for a long time yet. I think we'll work it out. I think the best thing you can do though is get on with your bloody job and stop chatting to this camera. Yes. We've got quite a lot to go through. These are great big sections, but as I said, it's I didn't want to cut down the tree, but it was becoming a problem. I didn't want to be liable for my neighbour's house being completely demolished by a tree falling through it in a storm that we blew in from the north, like we had in November. Was it November 22? Was it Eddie or 21? I can't remember. perhaps even earlier. A vicious storm it was. I was at Ballachulish coming back. I had to go all the way up to get my phone charger. I left it in the hotel. And rather than explain to the East European person who hasn't a clue what I was talking about, I'll forget it, I'll just drive out and get it. And I had to drive back in this horrendous storm. It was really, really terrible. The only time I think I will mention the storm name, I think it was called Storm Arwen. Yeah, Storm Arwen I think it was called. Whatever that was. But anyway, a little hint of spring today with the early blue skies and sunshine, but I wouldn't be fooled by the mid-March weather. It does this every year, and it sort of changes its mind, and we end up with a bitterly cold northerly wind and frost into April and May. Yes, it does this. When you get a little bit older, you realise these things. You become used to it. But I'm very glad that the damp weather's away, because that was bloody awful. Hated every single inch of rain it fell. I really didn't like it at all this past 3-4 months. Like anybody, it was just so grim. But a little bit more energised today, Andy, to get on with things. As I said already, if you get a move on instead of dithering, you might get this all done by tea time. What time is it, Andy? Oh, you took your watch off. I think it's almost, could be near 3 o'clock, Andy. Yeah, let's get bashing, shall we? My trusted axe. Great tool. I've got another heavier one for these big monsters, which will take a lot of effort to break open, but for now we're satisfied. I might show you the end results, maybe not today, but whenever. Thanks for listening to this little chit chat. Well, good afternoon on the 19th of March 26, Andy, come on, behave yourself. It looks rather unsightly, but there's a purpose. It's only going to be there temporarily, maybe for 3 months. I'll dismantle and then turn it, and that should be seasoned well for burning from October onwards, definitely for Christmas. And I've stacked up all this lot here, so that's looking quite grand, isn't it, Andy? That's all birch, so it'll burn this year. I'm moving this is just stockpiled for a short while, but the oak is going to stay where it is, and you can see already the higher the sunshine reaches in the sky, and the longer in the day, the more heat will dry out all that oak. Of course, the wind is important too, why it's raised off the ground level. These two are troublesome. These are the last two, but I can't get an axe into them. I'm using my big log splitter as well. It's a big heavy thing, but it's not doing the job. So what I've done is I've been using an old axe and this to try and tease the wood apart. But I thought to myself, it's not wanting to get broken, this one, because I need something for my kindling at the back. The whole place is looking a bit of a disaster, Andy. This is all going to be cleared, of course, but I can't stack my wood in here because it's in the shade almost the whole day long. You see, it's north facing, so they won't get any sunlight here until about well, 7 or 8 o'clock at night. In the summertime until about September, you get it till about 10, obviously because the sun travels further to the northwest. So by that time I will have all the wood repositioned here, but for now this will stay. I'm a bit of a woodaholic, but it's an essential supply. And it didn't cost me a penny, of course, because it's come from timber in my own garden. It's a problem. I didn't like cutting it down in the birch tree, but I've left it, the main trunk and the main tree. It's still there. So I've got some lot to do. I know this looks horrible, and it really just, there's nowhere else to put it. So, but it's got to get into the sun, into the dry, and therefore it's the only position I can find which is not an obstruction for anybody. So, aesthetics aside, this will be my temporary wood pile until at least midsummer. So let's crack on, and we'll get this the rest of this moved over, give things a tidy up. I don't want to be out here till, well, 7 o'clock at night or that. Well, it's been a gorgeous day. I've still got some wood left, but that's my kindling wood. And then eventually this whole store as normal will get replenished, probably with the oak and the birch. So there's all my canes. I've lost my my section. I had to use that. So it's been a difficult chopping episode. See how big these trunks are. So a lot of birch comes out of the one log, and but as I say, I'll keep these for using on chopping my kindling and other big chunks of wood I need to chop up, because the one at the back, the larch I got from the small glen, possibly back in 2023 or 24, I think it was 23 maybe, it's starting to rot. So if you put an axe into anything, it'll just all fall apart. Anyway, I'm mumbling again, so that's yes. So that pile over there is not quite so nice looking, but it's not going to be permanent, whereas this has got to be stable in order for the wood to all be dried out thoroughly before burning. So anyway, I'm not going to rattle on too far or too much. I was doing an upload, but unfortunately there's a YouTube strike for copyright on the music. So I've rather spoiled the, I've got to either make a decision to silence it, which won't be quite so good, or re-edit and put in another piece of music. So I'm rather disappointed, especially the piece of music. I wouldn't have thought there would be any copyright strikes, but that's the way it goes. So I don't want to, what do you call it, cause a nuisance with YouTube, because if there's any disputes and well, the problem is they can just shut down your whole channel, and you've got to appeal, and it's a long, lengthy process for copyright strikes. So yeah, so I'll have to change the piece of music or silence it usually. I'm disappointed because the music was absolutely brilliant the way it introduced, but I can't do anything about that. So that upload will have to be re-edited tonight and loaded for tomorrow, I think. So the air is very dry. This is a good sign in March. This is spring weather, and everything is delighted to see the sunshine again, especially my cut timber. Well, a very good morning on the 20th of March 26. And as you can see, things have cleared up well yesterday after my chopping expedition. Chopping expedition, Andy. Chopping chore. Still plenty of that wood left from the stock I got a few months back. As I say, I've got an obsession about my wood, but there we go. I've taken some of that away and put it over, because that didn't get much sunlight. This will season out very well. That was the two clumps I couldn't get an axe through. And I've stacked up everything over here. I just want to show you again. It's very exciting times actually. This is well, the start of the astrological year will be tomorrow, as the sun goes into Aries, and Now you can see what I've done here. So it's only temporary, and then I'll rebuild the rockery. But this will get the sun all day long, and that will season up very quickly. And there's my... I've got a lot of jobs to do, but I'm thinking of taking the bus up to Fort William today. I'm just thinking about it. I've not made a decision, but I think I might want to do something to get out of the environment. I've spent 48 hours here with the wood, and of course I can't afford, well, I can afford, but I don't want to be spending frivolous amounts on diesel at 170 plus a litre, not all the way to Fort William or even west to Greenlarroch, because it may well come to the stage there'll be no fuel, and well, I need it for essential journeys back and forth, for bread runs and stuff, although that might be curtailed as well for a while. I'll be making my own bread, for I've got a freezer packed full of it. Spring's here. Yes, so Mercury moves forward today as well, although the shadow effect will be here till the 9th of April. I think I mentioned that in the previous upload. And then what else have we got, Andy? Let's get away from these bins. It's not very scenic, the bins. Yes, so we have a new moon as well today. Well, last night there's a new moon on the 19th of March. So it will show face the next couple of days. That should bring a change in weather the next 3 days, 3 to 5 days. And I've mentioned it's the start of the astrological year tomorrow. It's the spring equinox. It's all happening, and the birds are singing like merry-o. Many of them have already chosen the nest spots, believe it or not. I've had a lot of interest from the blue tits. Particularly this year. It's great to see the blue tits return to the nesting boxes. They've not been there for a while. Sparrows have, but there've been blue tits back and forward here thinking this looks a really nice house, and Andy always supplies plenty of feed. So I think we might have the blue tits in residence this spring and early summer. The hazel's coming out onto the, you see the very first leaves, and also the hawthorn, so it's all, as I say, you go to your bed, and there's Mr. Robin. Good morning to you. Yes. You go to your bed at night, and you come through and you look out the next day, and all the plants have come through the ground. The bluebells, I mention every year there's too many bluebells, but it's not been the winter for doing all the landscaping that I hoped to have done. That was one of my primary jobs, was to get all this sorted out, but it's impossible to work in the wet conditions, so it's going to be another period before I can get into this lot. But, and I'm not spending the spring months in my garden. I want to get out onto the mountains or travel. So I think what we'll do, Andy, I think we'll get organised, get our breakfast, more coffee please, and I think what we'll do, sir, is we'll jump in that bus to Fort William and see what it's like in Lochaber today, just for something different. I should be out in the sunshine, but I fancy a journey. It's good for the soul to be moving, although that bloody sailing doesn't arrive back in this direction until after 6:30. It makes it a long day for such a, well, relatively short journey. A couple of hours to Fort William, a couple of hours there and a couple of hours back. 2 hours there. 3.5 hours in Fort William, and then 3 hours back, I think it is. 2.5 hours back. It's a long journey. So I'm pleased with all the efforts of the last few days. It had to be done. I did I did show you the amounts there. So anyway, I'm not going to mumble. I'm going to get my coffee. Hence why I'm not speaking very well. Things will improve as mercury moves forward, but my brain is not quite switched up yet. I've not had enough coffee.